When most people think of a card that Clash Royale removed from the game, they think of the heal spell. But did you know there is another card Clash Royale removed from the game? In May of 2016, Clash Royale added a card like no other. This card would eventually be directly responsible for the addition of 3 similar cards later on in the game, which would have a major impact on the decks we know and love today. Could you guess what card I'm talking about? I am talking about the Fire Spirits. Now I know what you might be thinking. The Fire Spirit is still in Clash Royale. But did you know when the Fire Spirit was first released, there were actually 3 Fire Spirits? They also used to cost 2 elixir. This sounds like a very good card, and it was. There were a lot of great plays you could make with the 3 Fire Spirits versus just the one we have today. For example, you used to be able to fully counter the Goblin Barrel with the Fire Spirits without taking any damage. You could fully counter a minion horde with just 2 elixir. To be fair, you can still counter minion horde with the 1 Fire Spirit, but if your opponent plays something like a free spell or a miner, you still have to defend the minions. One of the most notable plays is using Fire Spirits on Barbarians and using Zap to finish them off. This was a huge play back in the day, because back then Barbarians did not get taken out by Fireball. You could pair Fire Spirits with Zap to fully counter 3 Musketeers for a positive 5 elixir trade. You could split Fire Spirits into both lanes, which meant you had way more defensive or pushing capabilities. The Fire Spirits were a very versatile card and had the potential for so many great interactions. So why did Clash Royale remove them? The downfall of the Fire Spirits began not long after they were released on May 3rd, 2016. Only 3 months after the Fire Spirits were released, there was a summer update on July 4, 2016. In this update, 2 very important cards were released into the game. The first card was the Log. With the Log and Zap being used very frequently, Fire Spirits were constantly being hard countered because of their vulnerability. People chose to use Log or Zap over Fire Spirits in their deck because they were simply a better 2 elixir card. They provided more value. It was a safer and arguably a better decision to bring a 2 elixir spell into battle instead of the Fire Spirits, because in order for the Fire Spirits to do any damage, they needed to run across the arena. This was very difficult because of how fragile each Fire Spirit was. Now, the second card released in this update was the Ice Spirit. The Ice Spirit was the second 1 elixir card in the game, which meant it was frequently used in cycle decks instead of using Fire Spirits. Overall, the Ice Spirit was more valuable because it was cheaper and very effective. It also had its special freezing capabilities, so if you had a giant and paired it with an Ice Spirit, you could possibly freeze an Inferno Tower. Or if you have something locked onto your tower, you can use the Ice Spirit to retarget it. This update pretty much put Fire Spirits in the dirt only a couple months after they were released. As time went on, new cards were added such as the Electro Spirit and Heal Spirit, which were arguably way more valuable than the Fire Spirits. Too many cards could easily counter the Fire Spirits, so they never found their way into the meta. Clash Royale realized the Fire Spirits usage rate was near 0 and something had to be done about it. Let's fast forward to June 7th, 2021 summer update. In this update, the Fire Spirits had a major rework. Instead of having 3 Fire Spirits, there was now only 1 stronger Fire Spirit. The cost was also lowered to 1 elixir. This made sense because now the Fire Spirit matches the theme of the other spirits in the game. This changed everything for the Fire Spirit. Now the Fire Spirit is a great pick for cycle decks and good counter to most swarmy cards. The Fire Spirit finally has a spot in people's decks after being overlooked for 5 years. This change is what the Fire Spirit needed. Because of this change, the Fire Spirit was opened up to greater elixir trades because it only costs 1 elixir and takes down or weakens most swarmy cards. Fire Spirit usage skyrocketed. The Fire Spirits were pretty broken right after the change, having a very large splash radius and having a lot of damage. Shortly after the Fire Spirit was reworked, it was nerfed 3 times. First, its splash radius went from 2.5 tiles down to 2.3 tiles. Then shortly after, it went from 2.3 tiles to 2 tiles. Its damage was also nerfed 9% since the change. The Fire Spirit has not been changed since then, which was almost 2 years ago at the time of this recording. Do you guys think the Fire Spirit would have been better if they kept the 3 of them? Or do you think having the 1 Fire Spirit is better? Do you think the Fire Spirit is in a good spot today? Please let me know in the comments below. Personally, I think having the 1 Fire Spirit is great because it matches the theme of the other spirits in the game. The old Fire Spirits, in my opinion, were just too vulnerable and not worth 2 elixir. It was great when they connected, but it was very difficult to do so. If they had a little more health, they might have been worth it. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the content, please drop a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.